And now I wanted to show you the ornaments. So you all have a metal ornament, and that's the key about this when you're making, or metal cookie cutter. When you're making these ornaments, you need a metal cookie cutter, an oven safe one. If you try plastic, not gonna work. Just tell you right now. And the trick to these is you want to make sure that these are very, very heavily greased so that it will pop out. Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna put our little candies, you've got candies that are wrapped, we're gonna have to unwrap them, and you're going to melt them in the shapes of the cookie cutter that you have. So once they get hot in the oven, they all come together and they'll melt. This is a gnome head. I think a few of you guys have these gnome heads. I had thought they were stockings at first, but they're not. They're gnome heads. We do have some stockings out there as well. But this is what's going to happen. This is what they look like. And honestly, you can make them into an ornament, or it could just be some candy that you eat, like a big piece of candy that you give to somebody. So the trick is, like I said, you want to make sure that they're greased. Now, the one thing you don't want to do is grease them, like spray them straight onto where you're going to bake them. It's better if they go onto a dry piece of parchment paper or a dry aluminum foil, because if you spray them while they're on the pan that you're going to put in the oven, then it's going to be so greasy and so oily that the candies might kind of slide out. So I usually spray them on a separate piece and then put them on. And you can use, if you don't have a cooking spray, you can use, just put some on your fingers of some oil, like vegetable oil or something, and go all around the edges. So I spray these guys. And then I take the sprayed cookie cutter and I put that down onto my parchment paper that I'm going to bake on. So, and you may want to put, so there's a thicker side and a thinner side. The thinner side's the sharper side. I think that's the side I put down. I don't think it necessarily matters. It might just be easier when you're using it later to break it apart. And now you've got these candies that are wrapped. You got to unwrap them. Mm-hmm. And you probably don't need, those of you who may have the big Santas, you might need all the ones I gave you. Those of you who don't, you probably don't need as many. But that's okay. It's more to eat later. So we're going to fill up our cookie cutters with these. You're going to create a layer, I should say. You don't want to fill them. You're going to create a layer. And when you create that layer, you're going to have spaces in between.
There's going to be space. So that might be it.
Yep, there will be space. And you can either kind of, you can layer them up. I don't know if this will show very easily. Maybe if I do this. I don't know if you can see that. So when you put them in and you have some extra spaces here and there, the little spaces are fine. These things are going to spread out. You can also set them on their sides if you've got like a shoe to fill or a little head here or a little space there. You can break them up if you want, but I usually find that I don't need to do that because they'll just spread out. Here, I'm gonna finish mine and then I'll show you again. And so our little friends, they can help by putting their pieces inside the ornaments. Parents, you'll probably have to help in opening the little packages. If they're layered a little bit, that's okay. But like I said, we don't need to fill them up because that'll take a long time for them to melt. Okay. I'm going to show you how I put mine. I don't know if you can see that there. I've got a couple pieces on their sides. And I've got the rest that are flat. Once that's ready to go, then you can put those into the oven. But before you do that, I want to show you part of my video that I made, because the tricky part is when these come out. And this is where an adult, you got to be tough, adults, because this is what I miss this. I do this every year at Piccadilly, and I'm here to, I'm able to get them out of the ornaments or out of the cookie cutters for you. But adults, you're going to have to take my place in that part. And it's a little bit hot, just to warn you. So I'm going to show you a little picture. After they come out of the oven, they're going to be all melted. And you want to wait about 30 seconds or so, and you're going to poke a hole. You'll use that toothpick that you've got, and you'll poke a hole into them. And then if you wait too long, they'll be solid and you won't be able to make the hole. If you do it too quickly, they'll be so melted that the hole will just close up again. So you wait about 30 seconds after they come out of the oven and they're melted that you make that little hole. And then about 3 or 4 minutes after that, they're still going to be kind of hot, but they'll be solid. And that's the time where you're going to pull your ornament apart and you're going to poke them out. So I'm going to see if I can show you a video, and I'm pretty sure I know how to share the screen. There we go.
Share computer sound as well.
Share. I don't need to share computer sound. I can talk during the movie, right? Okay. And so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you my little video. Now this video is on YouTube already.
Asking people can see that.
Okay, can everybody see my screen? Good, okay. So this is me, I had already sprayed my ornaments and then I filled them up. This is what we've just done. And here I'm just organizing them. And then I put them into the oven and I let them melt. So you can put some crushed pieces together if you want to. If not, that's okay, because look, this is what they're gonna look like when they come out of the oven. You may have some bits that are leaking out from under. That's okay, that part will break off. And I'm making a hole in it now with my toothpick. So I made sure it wasn't too melty. If it is too melted to make the hole, then you wait 30 seconds. And then, like I said, this is the tricky part. So after, you need an adult to take them, they're solid, but they're still gonna be pretty hot. And you pull apart the ornament. Pull it apart, and then you're gonna poke it out. So I do these on a few so you can kind of see. And it'll be a little bit hot. So when you're holding the ornament or holding the cookie cutter, you're gonna hold the edges so you don't have to touch the candy, and then just poke the candy through. So you pull it apart, it loosens it up a little bit. Still kind of poke here, poke there once it's all loose. And try not to burn yourself. This is why an adult needs to do this part.
Is the silicone like face up or down?
I would face up. Silicone you can touch.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, I'm making sure.
And I had thought when I first got these, they all had silicone on them, and I thought, oh, I need to definitely pull it all off. And then I realized, no, it's silicone, and I tested it, and it's fine in the oven. So
good.
Yeah, I would put the silicone on top. That'll probably help. The metal itself is not hot. When you see me on this video here, that part's not hot. It's when you're touching the hot candy. That's why you're just poking it. But if you wait too long, so I did a test and I waited too long just to see, can I do this when it's completely cold? And you really can't, because it will be broken. After they cool off, then you can dry off. They'll be real greasy from the oil. You can dry it off with a paper towel. And at this part too, some of the edges will be kind of sharp. So when you're rubbing it off, that'll help rub off some of those extra edges that are kind of sticking out. And you'll dry those once you've gotten some of the oil off. Sometimes the hole might close a tiny bit, like in the back. You can just push that through and break it. If you've tried to make the hole too early, then it may close up. And if it's cold and completely solid by then, you got no luck with the hole there, and you could just eat it or something. But then once you've got the hole pop through, if you need to, you might not need to do that part. Then you can put your ribbon through and it's ready to hang. And now some of the things in this video also, I have kind of a troubleshooting section. If you have waited, if you try to poke the hole too early, it will, like I said, close up, and that's where you just want to wait about 30 seconds. Let me show you to that part. This is where I was trying to make a hole too early, and you'll see it's really gooey. Then you just want to wait 30 more seconds before you try to make that hole. Here's the thing, this was my test when I tried to make it completely cool to work with. I was pulling it apart, and you'll see that it broke because it was just too cool to work with. So once I popped it through, that little foot broke off. And what I did is I just popped it back in the oven, melted it again, and this melted quite a bit. So you'll see some of that oil. That would happen if you have a lot of oil too, or if you leave it in there for way too long, it's going to start melting out. But you can just break those pieces off, anything that melts out from under your ornament. And then you'll pull your cookie cutter apart to loosen it up a little bit. And you just want to keep working with it. So it may be a little bit difficult. Here I turned it over. It's another way to do it. You can turn it over and kind of push down all around the edges. And then it should be easy. You really just want to loosen first and then work on popping it out of that cookie cutter. And here's, God, I probably should have gone like quick time, but I wanted you to see that it does take, sometimes it can take a minute. Just be real patient with it and just keep sort of pulling and tugging and pushing the little edges out.
Ours is done.
You'll get it.
Amazing.
But I would say definitely have an adult do that part. And then you'll have them all done. All right.
Question.
Yes.
When we have done this a while ago, and they were, after a while, got really sticky. Do you have any suggestions for that?
I think what you could do is we may be able to like Mod Podge them.
Okay.
So I think you could maybe Mod Podge. Mod Podge is just like part glue, part water.
Okay.
And that would just create like a sealant on them. Or sometimes you can like spray a sealant on it. That would probably help.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
I love them, and I love doing them. I do them every year, and I thought this year I was getting so anxious because I'm like, it is kind of hot, that part, and I'm just, I wish I could go in everybody's homes and do it for you, but you've got it, and you'll be able to do it again, hopefully. So, but yeah, so that's it for today. I hope everybody had fun, and this is our last cooking for this year. I don't know, maybe in a week or so I'll be bored and I'll do an impromptu one, but we'll do more next year as well. And I think we'll probably do our Fridays. Obviously, if you have to miss a class, we will record them and post them. And but I appreciate everybody who's joined me for months and months this year, and everybody who tried us out for first time today. Thank you so much for giving us a try. And I hope you guys have a great holiday. And thanks so much.